And that way we're double covered because, you know, technology is lovely. Anyway, welcome everybody. Welcome to our Writers of Kern meeting. This is different, but this is great because we're getting together, and I think it's really exciting that we're able to have our meetings and have a speaker and still be here for you guys, because I know some of the groups aren't meeting, and I understand because this is a big deal. It's not easy to put something like this on for a lot of people, and it is intimidating. I mean, I've done quite a few conference calls, but every one of them is still a little bit nerve-wracking, just, you know. So anyway, yes, welcome to all of you, and especially Robert Kimsey with his Mars background. I think that's awesome. So this morning, what I want to do is what we normally do is we introduce our guests and visitors. Now, this is going to be a little difficult, but if you know where your raise hand thing is, and you are a brand new guest, you've never been with us before, go ahead and raise your hand. Or at least wave to us. We got a lot of people still joining here, so. Because I know there's a lot of names that aren't familiar to me. Or at least wave, say, hey, I'm brand new, I've never been here before. Okay. And we have people that are from different areas too. That's the cool thing. Oh, there's Shelby Stoner. Okay, I see Shelby. You just raised your hand for just a second and then it went away. So there you are. So Shelby, where are you? Wave. Let's see. I'm trying to think because I can't see you, but I know. Okay, so we have Shelby Stoner. Shelby, if you want to type in the chat, okay, you've been to one meeting, one in January. Awesome. That's what I was going to say. Put in the chat, like, you know, if you've been here before, this is the first time. Okay, Natalia says, if you're looking for the hand to wave on a PC or laptop, look for the reactions icon on the bottom black bar. Oh, there you are. The reactions
But
icon.
Reactions are different than waving a hand.
Yeah, there's, okay, and Ella Brantley, I see her hand up. Ella, if you can just tell us if this is your first time. Yes, Shelly, is that Shelly Evans, right? Yes, okay. So anyway, it's just really exciting. We've got 34 people on here. I think we had about 50 people registered. So the other thing is we always talk about, and this is going to be difficult because everybody's muted. Believe me, if I unmuted you, it would be crazy because there's just going to be a lot of noise, background noise, dogs barking, and it's amazing all the things that pop up here. So if you've submitted something in the last 2 months, raise your hand this way if you've submitted something. And let's all give like a virtual yay. Yay. Okay, Ella said this is her first time in the meeting. Congratulations, Ella, that's exciting. We're so glad you're here. Okay, rejections. This is the fun part. How many people have been rejected in the last 2 months? Raise your hand. Annis, Anka, Shelly. I'm looking through and seeing here. Because I'm clicking, let's see. These are the only ones I'm seeing right now. Anyway, Natalia, everybody clap for them because this is huge too, you know, gigantically huge. You know, I always tell everybody if you've been rejected, it's exciting because you can come to Writers of Kern and we'll all clap for you. So, you know. And then has anyone had a success story? You've been published, you've been accepted for publication. If you have, I need you to say something in the chat and then I will unmute you and you can tell us what it is. Oops, sorry, my phone's ringing. Guess what? By the way, mute your phones. So has anybody had a publishing or anything? I'm not seeing anything. Sin? Okay, hold on. Okay, Sin, oh, wait. I'm trying to, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
My children's picture book, The Cloud Maker.
It came out just a day or so ago. Yay!
Yeah, great.
Debbie Fogel, where are you, Debbie?
I got her.
I got her? Okay, unmute her. So,
Okay.
go ahead, Debbie, you can talk.
Wow, just saying that my vampire story is done.
Awesome. Congratulations.
The and Everlasting Love.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Okay, so go ahead. Yeah, and just, okay, and who else? Anka? Anka's at the bottom. Oop, there you are. You just went away.
Oh,
Here I am.
I
Okay.
unmuted you. We can
I'm
hear
at
you.
the top of my head. I look like a raccoon. Anyway, yeah, just to the Cal State poetry anthology with Matthew Woodman. I have 3 pieces in there.
Congratulations.
Great.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anybody else? Anybody else have something published or accepted? Okay, cool. And so, and just to let you know, I mean, we're going to talk about our new normal for a while. So we are going to be meeting like this for a while. So think about it. If you've submitted something or you've been rejected or you've had something exciting happen, come prepared to tell us because we want to know about it, and post it on the Facebook group too. Because we all want to hear, what's going on with everybody else. Even if you've gotten a rejection, just post on the Facebook, group, hey, I've been rejected. And I guarantee you everybody will be like so excited for you. So, because it means you're putting yourself out there. Okay, somebody raised their hands for success. Anna said, I don't know who, is that Dave Forden? D.A. Forden. Yes, oh, there you are. Hold on a second. Let me unmute you. Okay, you're done. You're unmuted.
Are we here?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I got my book was featured in the family magazine. It was this little one. It's a picture book, and they were kind enough. Vaughn was kind enough to put together an article about it.
That's awesome.
I have an article about. Whoops. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah,
it.
we can see it.
Okay. Well, anyway, but that was it.
Well, congratulations. Yay.
Cool.
Thanks to Vaughn, too.
Okay, that's awesome. A lot of good things are going on. So what we do normally at a meeting, for those of you, and by the way, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Joan Raymond. I'm president of Writers of Kern. You're going to be seeing a lot of our board. Jenny Estes, who has been talking, she's our critique group coordinator. Donna Harris, our wonderful VP. Sin, who's going to be talking today, our treasurer. And then we have a few other board members that are going to be talking today. And so when you guys come on, make sure you let everybody know what you do to make this group keep going. And because, we can't do it alone. And we have a wonderful group that helps out. And Gay Chambers is not going to be talking today. Gay's waving. She's got an orange shirt on. She is, if you look on the back of your, everybody should have gotten a agenda in email. And if you printed it out, great. If not, it's okay. But on the back of it, it has everybody. And Gay is our member at large. She's the person that, if you have a question, you can go to her and she comes to the board meetings and she'll say, hey, a couple members were asking about this or that. So she's the person that is kind of the liaison between all of us. What we normally do at a meeting is museful moments, and which means I give out a 1-word prompt and you guys have 3 minutes to write, and we're going to do that because we're writing club. So I'm going to give out a 1-word prompt, give you 3 minutes, and then I'm going to have 3 people read it. And so you guys ready? Everybody got a pen, paper, laptop, something? And the word for today is shoes. Shoes. Start now. What was that, Stephanie? You don't have? I can't hear you because you're gonna have to write something down. But anyway, if you don't have pen and paper, then just, that's okay. Shoes, SHOES. Is that your dog, Jenny? Okay, Debbie, I'm gonna let you guys say it out loud, so don't type it in. No reason to type it in, but whoever has it, I'm gonna pick 3 people to read it. So you guys got about a minute left. Okay, time is up. So Debbie typed hers in. And I will, anybody else want to read theirs? If you do, you can either raise your hand this way or you can click on the raise hand thing, and it's easier for us to see you if you click on the raise hand thing on the jigger. No brave souls? Oh, Anka? Okay. I'm trying to unmute you.
Okay.
There you go. Okay.
Okay. I don't have that little raise hand icon that you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't either. So anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So it'll be this for me.
Okay.
Okay. You want me to read it?
I do.
Oh, okay.
Everybody can hear you.
Okay. I caught my left shoe say to my right shoe, let's take this chaos and walk into it one step at a time. Said my right shoe, can we tap dance into the moment? Of course, said the left. We can pray and help at the same time because we are that good. We are good feet.
That's awesome. Very good. And Lois, you wrote something. I'm going to try to find you. Hold on a second. Okay, Lois, I can't unmute her. Okay, the way she is. So I'm going to read. She wrote, the door swung open and the roar of the wind cut off the other sound. Now, he shouted directly in my ear. I felt him rise up behind me, the harness that strapped us together lifting me along with him. He pushed me ahead of him to the open door. My arms shot out, my hands clawing at the metal door frame. Now, he shouted again and pulled my arms back. I looked down at the small platform my right foot rested on. My God, I thought, I'm about to die wearing pink tennis shoes, 2 sizes too big. Awesome. Okay, and by the way, let's see, Shelley Evans has been accepted for CSUB's poetry chapbook. That's exciting. Shelley, I just unmuted you because you waved your hand.
Hi, everybody. I have a museful moment. To have, oh, sorry, I can't read my own writing. To chase away the blues, take a walk in my shoes. You can't lose, but you can choose to go barefoot.
Yay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so Debbie Fogel posted hers. And I'm trying to find you, Debbie. Anybody see Debbie? Oh, there you are. Okay, so she doesn't have her, Debbie, can you hear me? I mean, can you?
Do you want me to unmute her?
I did, I unmuted her. So Debbie, do you want to read yours?
So I just typed it in because I'm not.
Okay,
I'm painting.
okay, I was gonna say, it's really hard to hear you, so I'll read it for you, her. Okay. So it says 64 high heels, 11 pairs of boots, 3 tennis shoes, 9 pairs of flip-flops, gardening shoes, work shoes, dancing shoes, and a cute pair of ballet slippers. I love shoes. Wow, that's
A lot of shoes.
a lot of shoes. All right, thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. I know sharing's hard and it's kind of different here, but anyway, so think about it for next time. I mean, you won't get the prompt until then, but you know, have paper and pen and be ready because that's what we do. So I'm going down announcements now. Our new normal, obviously this is what it is. And we decided a while back to cancel our meetings and then Hodell's closed. So that once Hodell's closed, we know we couldn't meet, and that's okay. For right now, and for the May 16th meeting and for the June meeting, we are just planning on them being online, and they're also going to be free. We're not going to charge anything to members, to guests. Everyone's welcome to come and view them, and then the recording will be free also. At the next board meeting, we are going to be talking about our summer conference. We are going to still have the summer conference. It might be online, and if it is, it will be at a reduced price. We haven't decided what it's going to be, but we'll let you know because we are discussing it with our speakers, but we still want to bring that to you. And like I said, if you have a question, make sure you put it in the chat, and then we'll get to that. So yes, we're going to keep going, every month we're going to keep having a meeting, and we're going to keep bringing speakers to you and whatnot, because I want to have some sense of normalcy with our group, and so next announcement, Dan McGuire blog challenge. I know it ends on May 10th, but hey, if you want to start now, if you haven't started, I've done a total of 6. Yay, me. I kind of fell behind, but that's okay. That's just what happens. Shelly says she's done 0. She's either done 3 or 0. I can't. 0. But anyway, if you decide to get started on it, it does give you a little bit of exposure on your blog, because you can post the blog posts on the group site. And so, it's a little bit of an entry into the blogging world if you've never done it before. If you're interested, email me at presidentofwriters@kern.com. Let me know, and we'll let everybody else know. If not, if you're going for it, how many people that we can see, raise your hand, are blogging right now with the challenge? Sandy, Natalia, Sin. I can't see everybody, but, oh, Annis. There you go, Annis. You have that special wave there, Annis. Anyway, I appreciate everybody that's going for it. I am going to bring Sandy Moffett in. I'm trying to find, I just saw her. Okay. Okay. And tell us who you are, Sandy, and then.
I'm some lady named Sandy. No, I'm the membership chair of Writers of Kern. I'm also the state membership chair for California Writers Club. And I did not get an agenda. So are we at membership?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a unique time of year for us, because the fiscal year for California Writers Club starts in July. I don't know who came up with that weird idea, but it goes July to June. And so when we get to this point in the year, we want to encourage people to come in and check us out a couple of times before you decide whether or not you want to join. So if you are considering joining Writers of Kern for the next 2 regular meetings, you can come and sit in, and if you want to join, we will hold your check, or you can even wait to give us your check until July. And so we will grandfather or gift you in for the next 2 meetings. We would love to have you on board. So if you have any questions, or if you'd like an application, you can either go on the Writers of Kern website, or you can send me a note at membership@Writers of Kern, and I'd be happy to get in touch with you and answer any questions that you have.
And then you were going to do spine poetry.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Okay, so I got a number of submissions, and I'm going to read my 2 favorites. And then,
you want to explain what spine poetry is?
Yes. If you didn't look at the newsletter, Book Spine Poetry is where you randomly select 10 books or 10 DVD cases or 10 CDs or 10 of something that has a title on it. Just randomly grab 10 and then try to put them in some sort of an order to where they make a free verse poem. And so we asked people to submit their book spine poetry, and I had a number of people who submitted, and I chose my 2 favorite, and I'm going to read them both, and then one of those people is going to get a little surprise from me that I'll send in the mail. So this one was done by Karen Sully, and she did it specifically for her grandchildren, and I just love this. And here is her poem. Dear Zoo, if I ran the zoo, what pet should I get? Mr. Popper's penguins, Old Yeller, the cricket in Times Square, Yertle the turtle, the 3 little javelinas, Dark Horse, Tyrannosaurus Rex, 10 little ladybugs, bears everywhere. Today I feel silly. Make way for ducklings. So I really liked that one.
Great.
Yeah, I really liked that one a lot. And then the other one that I really liked, and I think this person has the same kind of books on their shelf that I do, and this was written by Stephanie Absett, and it says, listen, beloved, anything is possible, like a miracle, new mercies. Choose happiness. In the garden of happiness, unleash your joy. Wondrous dreams and visions like ripples in water. Love is a special way of feeling.
Aww.
Oh, nice.
So,
and Stephanie,
Stephanie's here.
She's here. Wave big Stephanie, yeah.
There's Stephanie.
Yeah.
And I did not see Karen. So I love them both. But since Stephanie's here and Karen's not, Stephanie, I'm going to give you the prize. So you can choose between gift certificate for Applebee's or gift certificate for Starbucks. And you can put in the chat which one you want, and I will mail it to you. And both of those places are available for curbside currently.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Okay, I don't want to, whoever's muting and unmuting, I don't want to, or am I doing that? Okay, I did it. We all have, our 3 of us have our jobs, and so we're trying to make sure we, because if I unmute and somebody else mutes, then it goes the opposite way. Okay, and Jenny's going to talk about, and also we did mail out, we said it so you would get a agenda in the mail or email. So we did send those out. You might not have checked your email, but anyway, Jenny, you're going to talk about Jenny, oh wait.
I am.
Yeah, you're going to talk about sunshine, and then Janet's going to talk about elections.
Yes.
Sunshine and critique group.
Yes. Okay, sunshine requests. We love to honor and encourage each other and celebrate life events and comfort when need our members. And on our website, if you go to writersofkern.com and you click on the little search magnifying glass and put in sunshine, it'll bring up a page where you can actually request a sunshine card to be sent to someone and what the event is and what type of card. The other thing you can do is send an email to sunshine@writersofkern.com. And we, I believe it's Stephanie and Annis are
It's
Stephanie
Stephanie
right now is doing a wonderful job, I might say. Thank you, Stephanie, of encouraging each other. So send an email to sunshine@writersofkern.com. And if you're new and you're a new member, please send Stephanie at least your birthday, because you'll get a birthday card from us. So,
and let me interrupt you for just a second, Jenny. Stephanie has put a note out to us on the board, and it's going to come out soon. She's running out of cards because normally she goes and buys them, but now what? You guys are like pointing, but you're not saying. You got to put it in the chat. Anyway, so Stephanie's kind of running out of cards, so she's going to ask for us to send them to her. So I know if you have cards to send to her, you have to email her, and then she'll give you her address. We're not just going to post her address all over. But if you have tons of cards like I do, and I think Natalia sent her like 5,000 the other day or something because she collects them. Not really, but she sent a lot. So anyway, okay, Sandy said she has tons. Okay, yes, Stephanie needs the cards right now. So sorry, Jenny, just wanted to bring that up.
all right, and the other thing I'm going to talk about is we have 8 current critique groups, and one of them has an opening. It's an evening group. They meet the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays online at 6 p.m. 2nd and 4th Tuesdays at 6 p.m. It's a mixed fiction group. I think they'd be open to memoir too, or nonfiction. So there's 2 members in this group, and they would love to have someone join them. If you are interested in joining their critique group, all the other groups are full right now, and we won't be starting new ones until after our fiscal year. So it won't be until July, August, September. Somewhere in there, we'll be having an open time for new critique groups to form. But so there is openings in this one group. If you're interested in participating in this group, please contact me at critiques@writersofkern.com.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. I'm going to bring Janet on right now. I'm going to unmute you, Janet. So Janet, introduce yourself, and she's going to be talking about elections.
I'm Janet Skabinski, and I'm the secretary for Writers of Kern. And I also am the nominating chair for our next group of officers. We have the president's position, which is the person who's responsible, has to answer for all the things that we do. So it's a hard job, but it's a rewarding job, I believe. Then we have the vice president, and the vice president assists the president and actually does kind of whatever the president asks of that position. The secretary takes notes at the meetings, transcribes those and sends them out to the board members. She also will do correspondence, pick up correspondence from the post office, and also send out any official correspondence that needs to come from writers. And lastly, and very importantly, is the treasurer position, who is responsible for making sure that we have money in both our general account and also the Peggy Connolly Scholarship Fund. And all of these positions are from July 1st through June 30th. So July 1st of this year, 2020, till June 1st, June 30th of 2021. That sounds so far away, doesn't it? Anyway, if you are interested in those positions, or if you would like to nominate someone in any one of those positions, please send me the email at secretary@writersofkern.com, and we will have voting in May.
June.
June,
At the
okay.
June meeting, we'll have the voting.
At the June meeting. Okay, all righty then. I don't think, if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to drop me a note, again, at secretary@writersofkern.com.
Thanks,
That's it.
Janet. The board, those 4 positions have said that they will run again if there's no one else that would choose to run against them. So, you know, we're always looking. I mean, Janet, you've been on the board. I've muted you, but I think Janet's been on the board now for probably about 7 years. And, you know, that's a long time to be secretary. So we are looking, and the people that are on the board right now, we're not going to be doing this forever. So we do need some other people to stand up and start, or, you know, volunteer to help. The other thing is so those are the 4 elected positions. And then we have appointed positions, and we do need, sadly, our critique group coordinator has put in her resignation. She's done an amazing job. Jenny, you've done an amazing job. And we do need a new critique group coordinator for the next fiscal year. And then publicity. Publicity is where you write up the blurbs for the newspapers and the newsletter. And those have to be written up, but then they have to be sent to the newspapers and radio stations and whatnot. And so we'd like a team. It's hard to put this just on one person. And so if, you know, you want to get a couple of clips in the newspaper, you know, you get your name in the newspaper, which helps for becoming active status, let us know, because those, like I said, are appointed positions. So anyway, upcoming May 16th, normally May 16th is in May we have walk honors. And this is when we honor our blog challenge finalists. We honor Peggy Connolly winners, and that's normally a big dinner. Well, this year it's going to be during our meeting. We are very honored to have Annis Cassels. Annis, if I don't know where you are on here. Oh, there he is. Okay, Annis is waving to everybody. If you can see her on the screen, she's going to be speaking next month on journaling for life. Plus, we're going to have a daytime walk honors. So if you're doing the blog, Dan McGuire blog challenge, and you finish, you need to let me, president@writersofkern.com, let me know that you finished the blog challenge. Also, if you have been traditionally published, not self-published, this is traditionally published with a publisher, you need to let us know, because we honor people that have been traditionally published. And we'll put out the whole list of, you know, if you've done this or that, let us know type thing in the newsletter in May. June 20th will also be a Zoom webinar, and this was going to be on tips on researching, writing, and publishing your family legacy. Judy Billingsley, she's in Sacramento, and so she will be Zooming in and doing our talk. July 18th, like I said, just give us a few more weeks and we'll let you guys know. We're pretty sure it's going to be online. So, but it's going to be kind of like an all-day thing. You know, we're going to start at 9 in the morning, and it's going to go for, you know, several hours. And still going to have 4 speakers and 3 spotlight speakers. It's going to be a lot of fun. But, you know, just not all the good food at Hodell's. Everybody will have to make their own lunch that day. So. Let's see. And then in August, we have, this is a huge one, Dr. Christina Gessler. I have heard her talk. She talks about funds for writers, how to apply for grants, residence scholarships, and fellowships. And she's amazing, and you will learn a lot. So, and we need a few more speakers, but we've got speaker proposals coming in all the time. So I just wanted to put the ones that we know for right now. So since we're not going to take a break and we're not doing the Peggy Connolly Scholarship right now, we are going to go right into the program. Sin, I'm trying to find you. Where are you? Let's see. Cynthia's not on here. So I guess I can keep talking for a few minutes.
Well, Joan, I just wanted to reiterate, if you have a question for Sin during the talk, please type it in the chat room, and we'll make sure she gets to it. Where did she go?
I don't know. You know, computers love to restart. During our board meeting, mine suddenly restarted. Right in the middle of the board meeting. Oh, Sin said she was dropped from the meeting. So she will come back in, and most likely just a computer glitch, not a big deal. So in the meantime, is there anything that anybody has any questions about what we've talked about so far? Put them in the chat. Let's see. Oh yeah, Judy Billingsley is a local author, the one that's going to speak in June. She's a local author who has published her book, Too Brown to Keep. And so she, even though she lives in Sacramento, she is from the Bakersfield area. She went to Bakersfield high schools and the colleges here. So she's, yeah, and her book is about searching for her birth family in Germany. Anything else? Anybody have questions? As we wait for Sin to sign back on. This is a good time to use the restroom. We're having our quote unquote small break. You know, if you want to go get a drink of water, use the restroom. Donna, do you have anything that you want to say to everybody?
Well, I didn't really have anything specifically, but I'm just excited that we have so many people here today listening, and I think that Sin is going to put on an amazing presentation. So you guys just sit back, wait for that. And like Joan said, this is our time until Sin gets back on for you to go ahead and take a quick break. Not too long of a break, because I'm sure she'll be here soon, but take a quick one and be back and be ready. I would suggest bringing some, make sure that you have a pen and paper. So if you didn't have it before, this is your opportunity to go ahead and get a pen, get some paper, and get ready. Right.
And the thing is this is recorded. So if you don't take notes, you can definitely go back to the recording again. Shelley Ovens says, I want to thank, for those that don't know, Writers of Kern, we had the chance, all the different, I think we're one of 24, I think there's 24 California writer clubs. And each of the writer clubs was able to send 2 people to the San Francisco Writers Conference, one in screenwriting and one for poetry. And Shelley Evans was one of the ones. Wave to us, Shelley. She's right there. She's, well, for me, she's at the bottom of the screen, but she says, I want to thank you for sending me to the SFWC in February. It was great, and I wrote a poem about it. Of course. Well, we would expect nothing less.
Also, Heather went for screenwriting, yes, and she wrote the board a beautiful thank you letter and said it was extremely valuable and it was a wonderful time and she learned a lot. So,
one question while we're waiting, did anyone have difficulty registering? Because this is the very first time we've used Eventbrite. And so everything we're doing is kind of, you know, we're just walking through it one step at a time. But if you had a challenge registering, you know, either let me know, or, you know, you can let us know in the chat. You know, you can do, actually in the chat, it's kind of cool. You can do a private message. So you can send chat to, and you can send it to Donna, you can send it to me. But if you had a challenge registering for the event, let us know, because we're trying to streamline it. And we want to make sure that everybody got you know, the sign-in information, the agenda. We had people registering like this morning. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't just all last week. It was up to just about the time that we started. So we want to make sure that everybody got, let's see. Mandy says, however you guys set it up, it was easier to register and get reminders than other times. Okay, awesome. Eventbrite is the name of it. And it didn't cost us anything to do the event. I mean, if we were charging, we would pay a small percentage, but we also pay a small percentage to PayPal. So it's about the same. So if that works for everybody, then that's what we're going to keep doing. Sin has been texting me, and she said, I guess like her computer, she had to reboot the modem. Yay, you know, technology. Jenny, while we're waiting, do you want to let everybody know what critique group coordinator does?
Oh, sure. It's a pretty easy job, and it's actually really fun. So the critique group coordinator basically runs 2 meetings a year for the critique leaders, and you're just the liaison for all the critique leaders for when they have questions or problems, or and frankly, no one's ever well, I do get questions, but we don't very often have problems, which is nice. But so what happens is just twice a year we have open registration for critique groups, and at those points we try to form, you know, like I get maybe 8 to 10 applications. I look at them and form them into new groups, or put them, you know, I ask all the going groups if they have openings, and try to fit people in similar genres. A lot of our groups are mixed genres, and it's kind of good to work in mixed genres because it expands your knowledge base as a writer. So, and then there are some that are strictly fiction or strictly nonfiction. And we do have a strictly poetry group. So basically, you're the one that helps them get started. And so twice a year when we start new groups, I go to the first meeting and then help them, show them the protocol for running a critique meeting. And it's very easy. WALK has guidelines and a critique form that we follow. And once you understand it, then the groups are often running on their own. So it's not a huge job, except when you're starting new groups, and but you only just go to 1 or 2 meetings during the year for each group. I highly recommend that you are in a critique group and that you understand the critique process if you are going to be coordinating the critique groups, because you need to understand the dynamics of that. But also during the leader meetings, we've been having them at Joan's house, and Joan is a great help too, because she's done this for years. And so there's not a steep learning curve to doing it. It's just being willing to help people get their group started.
Plus, right now everything's online, so you know, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yes,
so.
All our groups are online now, and it'll be interesting to see how many go back to physical meetings and how many stay online. Once you get used to that online format, it's kind of easy, and it saves you that hour drive. So we'll see. Some people really like meeting in person, and I don't know.
Yeah. All right, so Cynthia's back. Yay, Cynthia. I am going to unmute you.
Okay.
Okay. So
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. You know, and that's why we're making these online meetings no charge, because especially this first one, you know, there's just there's things that can go wrong. I mean, what can I say? It's technology. So anyway, so I'm gonna turn it over to Cynthia. But first of all, I should probably introduce you. So Cynthia's gonna be talking about surviving the slush pile. Cynthia is our Writers of Kern treasurer, amazing treasurer, and she has been a slush reader, an editor. She's a author. She's an author illustrator. And anyway, she's got a lot of good insights, and I know we're all going to learn from her. All right, Cynthia.
Okay. Hi. Okay, so I made a presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that I can get the PowerPoint up. So let me do that now. Okay, I hope everybody can see that okay.
Looks
So
good.
Okay, good. Okay, so this is, hello, welcome to Surviving the Slush Pile.
Oh, can I say one thing?
Sure.
Most of us will have there's like 5 or 6 pictures that are going to be on the side of the screen.
Yeah, I
If
see.
you choose to move that around, you can. You can take your mouse and you can move it to one side or the other. You can move it to the top of your screen. So if that kind of gets in the way, it won't be on the recording, but just to let you know, you can move that around. Okay, I'm going to mute again.
Yeah. All right, thank you. So the focus of this presentation will be on short stories and poetry, because that's where my experience is at. So let me go to the next slide. Presentation agenda. So I'll have a brief introduction of me and some of my credentials. I'll go over a little bit some of the terms that I'll be using in the glossary, the vetting process and publication guidelines, common mistakes and other reasons for rejections, tips, markets, and resources as well. And then we'll have a Q&A at the end. Okay, so a little bit about me. So here's a brief bio. I live in Bakersfield, California. I was born and raised here. I attended community college at Bakersfield College and also Santa Barbara City College. I lived there for about 20 years. And then I finished out with a bachelor's degree in physics at the University of California in Santa Barbara. Graduated in 2005. I'm a hybrid author. That means I have both traditional and self-published works. And that was a goal of mine. So I'm happy that I've accomplished that. So let me go into my credentials. So let's see. This is a list of my traditional publications, and it includes poetry publications as well. My most current works, I have the Brothers series with West 44 Books, and The Moon Follows, which will be released in October, which is also with West 44. I self-published a children's picture book called The Cloud Maker as well. This is the second half, the continuation of my credentials, my publications. So altogether, I have 37 short fiction and poetry publications. This includes reprints. My notable accomplishments, I was nominated for a Pushcart in 2015 for my short story, Dancer in the Right of Way. I won a small story contest in a publication called The Red Line for my story, Aberration. I also won an honorable mention for my story, Soul by Proxy, which is not listed here, with the Writers of the Future. And a couple of my stories have made it into a best of anthology. I also ran a small lit magazine, volunteer-based, from 2014 to 2016. So some of the words I'll be going over is slush pile, unsolicited, standard manuscript format, simultaneous, and multiple submissions, exclusive and non-exclusive. This has to do with rights, your first rights, web rights. So first, let me define what a slush pile is. This refers to unsolicited submissions sent to an editor, publisher, or agent. Unsolicited means they didn't ask you for it, they didn't request it. And most places will be very clear if they'll let you know if they accept unsolicited or not. So if they do, this is where you would submit your manuscript, and it would wind up in a slush pile. Nowadays, it's a virtual slush pile. But back before we had electronic submissions, you would have to mail it in, and it would end up in a stack pile. Now, some of the stuff we'll touch upon again a little bit later. So I won't define everything right here, right this second, but a little bit later. Okay. So guidelines and the vetting process. This is the part where you're the surviving part of the slush pile. So when you submit to a journal, a magazine, typical guidelines include the following. So every magazine is going to have their own set of guidelines, do's and don'ts. For example, a magazine will say no vampire or zombie stories, or they'll say send us vampires or zombie stories. So you want to make sure you read those, and it's very important because you're hearing straight from the editor what they want. Plus, you get a feel for the tone of the magazine, and some editors are more playful, some are more, formal, and funny. Some are funny, some are lighthearted. So then you know already the tone of where you're sending your piece to. Typical guidelines include the following. Format. Standard manuscript format is the industry standard. If you Google that, if you put that in as a search string into a browser, you will find an example. And there's a famous one, I forget the name right now, that's available. If you Google it, it'll come up and it'll show you how to set up your manuscript. And this I do highly recommend because it is professional, and this is your profession, so you want to try to make it industry standard as much as possible. Not every magazine or journal cares if it's in standard manuscript format. Some just want it to be readable. So again, this is where you go back to reading the guidelines to be sure. Today, submission process is a lot easier because now we have email. Submittable is another place. I spelled it wrong, forgot to correct it. Is a popular submissions portal. Some places have their own where you have to create an account and then submit it that way. There are still a lot of publications that accept snail mail submissions, which is fine too. Guidelines will also include word limits, payments and rights, simultaneous and multiple submissions, and other do's and don'ts. So again, when you read the guidelines, you're getting a sense of what the magazine, what they'll accept. So if they say word limits, they'll tell you if it's a hard limit, if it's firm, or if it's kind of loose, and just try to keep it within. I would highly recommend to not send your story. If you have a vampire story, don't send it to a place that tells you they don't want it, because you're just going to get a rejection. That's just my recommendation. Okay, so let me touch a little bit on this definitions. A simultaneous submission is where you send one manuscript to multiple places. I think this is important. If a magazine or journal accepts simultaneous submission, which a lot do nowadays, and that's cool. Then you can do that. You can send it everywhere. As a courtesy, you should always, whether they request it or not, let them know, hey, I'm submitting this to multiple places. And then as soon as you get accepted somewhere, you inform the person. However, if the magazine requests that you don't send it anywhere else, it's a long process anyways, and patience is part of this process. So just submit it and wait. Some magazines are really good about turning over the submissions fast. So just keep that in mind. Okay, we'll go on to the next. So, common mistakes and other reasons for rejection. So, okay, the big one, I guess it doesn't need to be said, but I'll say it here, is not having a well-written story. And this can mean different things for different people. and we'll go over that. Not following the guidelines. That's probably a big one. But again, it depends on the editor. I mean, some may care less about how strictly you adhere to the guidelines. Some care more. So I always err on the side of caution. Other reasons that a magazine may reject a story, it could be that they have too many stories with the same theme or plot, that they just published a story that was similar. But going back to a well-written story, when I was reading, it actually helped me as a writer. Just a little side note, because I started to see a lot of mistakes that I was making as a writer, and so some of those mistakes have to do with the story itself. So here, front loading, telling and not showing. Some telling is okay, just finding the right balance between what should be told and what should be shown. Too many typos or grammatical errors. Yeah. So those are some of the common, and if you don't know what those things are, this is like another kind of, a whole nother talk, and going on to what's front loading in. This is when you put too much of backstory all in the beginning, or too much of the story, or that you want to, the setup or the setting, and you put it all at once. This is front loading. That was a big one. That was a big one that I noticed for me personally. And then telling too much was also another one. So again, so this is also surviving the Slush file. Tips, helpful tips. Have a well-written story. So well-written, again, it depends on, I'm sorry, let me start over. Well-written. Hopefully you have have it reviewed by a trusted peer, friend, someone who can help give you feedback on a story. This is probably a big thing for writers. Feedback for me personally has been very valuable, because sometimes you're too close to your work, and you can go over the same mistakes. So if you have someone who could read your work and tell you what's working, what's not working, that's helpful. Not that you take all the advice that's thrown at you. You have to learn how to trust yourself as a writer, and pick out what feedback is going to help your story. So that's part of having a well-written story. I'd say have it reviewed, get some feedback, revise, and edit, and polish it as much as you can. I have for me personally, one of the biggest mistakes I made as a writer is sending my stuff too early. Sending it before, and then I revise it, and then I'll send it out. Sometimes I'll send it out 3 or 4 times, get rejected, and then I just keep revising it. So it's good if you do it before. You save yourself a lot of rejection that way. So I'm speaking from experience with that. Other helpful tips, I would say, review at least one story of the publication. It's helpful if you are a reader. If it's like, for example, if you are a science fiction fan and you like to read science fiction, read the magazines that you're going to submit to. I used to read for Clark's World. It's one of the best science fiction magazines out there. So, but I actively read that. Even now that I don't slush read for the magazine anymore, I still love reading the magazine. And so I do recommend that before you submit somewhere, read at least one of the stories. This is what I do personally. I read the about section learn more about the editors, read the guidelines, follow the guidelines, and most importantly, be professional. I always, again, say, err on the side of being professional. Be patient. It takes a long time. I have a story that I've been waiting to hear back from for over a year. It's still there waiting. And the editor has let us know that they're still holding these stories, deciding on them. So it can take a really long time. I'm always thankful for those publications that can churn them out fast. But most will take at least 3 months, maybe longer. So you have to be patient. And you have to be resilient because you're going to get a lot more rejections than acceptances. I think I have close to 200 rejections. So yeah, so you have to be resilient. And I always say take chances. Don't. I have a tendency to also want to follow formulas, but it's okay to take a risk and just write the story that's within you and send it out, because you never know. And that's how I got my first publication. Is I was scared and I sent it out and someone liked it. And so that's what you got to keep doing. You just got to be resilient and take chances. Let me go into the types of markets. There is, so the type of markets are, for short stories and poetry, are the non-paying markets. There's the non-paying and the paying markets. So non-paying markets, there's a lot of them. Sometimes they offer contributor copies or a token pay. Token pay means they'll give you a small amount, like $5, $10. I am a firm believer that money should flow to the writer. However, for me personally, non-paying markets, I found valuable because it gave me hope. You know, I submitted my story somewhere, somebody read it, it was vetted, and non-paying markets, they get a lot of submissions too. It may not be as much as a place like Clarksworld that gets tons and tons of submissions internationally, but they do get a hefty amount of people submitting stories. So you're still getting your work vetted. And someone's reading it and deciding, yes, I like this story, I'm gonna put it in my magazine. So for me, that was valuable. It gave me an incentive to keep pushing forward. Getting a contributor copy is nice too. You have a nice little, book of your work to show, you can showcase it on your platform, something like that. So token pay. Semi-pro is when you get paid a certain percent per word, cents per word. Usually 1 cent, between 1 cent to 5 cents is a semi-pro rate. This is defined by Duotrope. I'll go into what Duotrope is in a minute. And then pro rate, as defined by Duotrope, is 5 cents or more. But this rate also depends on the market in which you're submitting to. So I only know of the science fiction, SFWA, which is the Science Fiction Writers of America, set the pro paying rate to 8 cents a word. I believe that's what it is now, because it was recently increased. Resources. Some of the places, like when I first started submitting, I wasn't sure where to send things. So the first place I went to was New Pages. And that was just because someone had told me about it. So that was word of mouth. So I went to New Pages. I found an advertisement for Hemingway's Playpen. It was a student-run publication, and I sent in my work, and it was student-run. It was very small. She had about 100 submissions, but out of the 100 submissions, my story was selected, and so I was very happy. And it was very, I can't tell you how exciting it was to get that acceptance. So New Pages is a good one. Duotrope later, just from Googling and interacting with other writers, I learned about Duotrope, which is a good one because it has a huge database of all the magazines, most of them anyway, and you can keep track of your submissions, and you can see how fast a market, so you can choose. So you can look up a market and it'll tell you the average rate at which it turns out its submission. So you can see if it's going to take 3 months or 3 days, and you can decide. It also lets you know how hard it is. And this is all built on people actually putting in the statistics into the website. So there's going to be a margin of error, but it also lets you know how difficult it is to get into certain publications. Now, Duotrope does cost money. It's like $5 a month, I believe. But there is another similar version. It's called Submission Grinder. It's free, and it has sort of the same setup as Duotrope. I don't know how big their database is, because I personally use Duotrope. I have a Submission Grinder, but I don't really use it as much. I use Duotrope. So, anyway. Other places that I've used, Authors Publish is a good one. It announces monthly. This is a good one for anthologies, because their announcements, I don't know, for some reason I seem to like see the anthology announcements when it comes through Authors Publish. Duotrope has it also, but I found that valuable with Authors Publish. Writer's Market is an actual physical book. I've owned 2 in my life in the last decade or so. I haven't used it, but that's just my personal experience with it. But I felt very writerly when I got them, when I bought them. Feels weird not hearing anybody. Like, is anybody listening? Yeah. Oh, okay, that's the end of my talk. I feel like it went by really fast, but you know, it probably did, and that's okay. You guys can just ask me questions and then I'll answer. So let me just plug in some of my work really quick. This is my some books that I have available. That URL that you see at the bottom, the tiny.cc. CYNCB is a link to my Amazon Author Central. So The Cloudmaker is my picture book that I recently put out. And then I have my brother's series here also, that's at the same link, if anyone's interested. And let me go to my social media so that you can get this down too. I have Twitter, I have a Facebook page, and I have an Instagram. And I do post regularly, try to post at least twice a week. And I have a newsletter that I'm launching, so I hope that you do join. I will be doing a reading of my children's book that will be in the newsletter, so I'm hoping more people will come. And then I'll include like discounts and other things, and a collection of my blog posts and things like that on the newsletter, and announcements and works in progress. Okay, questions? Go ahead.
So do you want to take us off of screen share?
Yes, sure. I wanted to show you my last image.
Oh, okay.
How do I do that? How do I stop screen sharing?
You go to the
stop
top.
share.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, you've got some questions.
Lois says that you're doing great. Lots of good info, and thank you. And Shelby has a question. She says, you stated that you sent your work out early, were rejected, and proceeded to evaluate and sharpen your manuscript. Did you resubmit your new manuscript to the same individuals who rejected you?
No.
Or does rejection mean that the manuscript cannot be sent back to the same person?
I would say do not send it back to the same person unless the editor explicitly requests that they want to see your manuscript again. Because usually, when it's a no, and they pass. So I have never resubmitted. At least I don't think so. I might have by mistake, but I don't think so. I don't resubmit to the same place. I revise. Hopefully, sometimes when I'm lucky, I get feedback from the editor, and I fix my story, and then I resend it somewhere else.
And Sandy wants to know, what does Duotrope do?
Duotrope is a database. It serves a lot of purposes. One, it's a place for you to keep track of your submissions. So you put in there, and this is helpful. I mean, you could do this on your own with your own spreadsheet, but I don't know, Duotrope has a function where you could put in where you submitted, when, and that way you can keep track. It's all there. So you're not resubmitting to the same person, or the same story to the same person or for that. But it also has all the statistics that has been built over time from all the users who put in information. So as a user, you're going to say, I submitted to this magazine on this date. I received a notice on this date and I was rejected or I was accepted. If you were rejected, you could put that if it was a personal rejection or if it was a form rejection. And it's very helpful. I like looking at statistics in general. So for me, I like looking at all that stuff. So that's why I found Duotrope to be very valuable. And again, Submission Grinder has a similar setup. So if you're interested in checking out both.
Anna says it all Duotrope. She uses Duotrope, and it gives her a lot of good information on the markets that are currently open as well.
Yes, yes.
And Sandy also said that Writer's Market is online now too.
Oh, is it?
Besides being a book, and so you can join that. Anna said it led her to new publications that accepted her work, so it sounds like a good thing to do. Debbie wants to know, what is the average word length of a magazine subscription?
Average word, you mean of a submission?
Yeah, a magazine submission, what is the average word length?
I think it just depends. I probably around 3,000 to 5,000, 3,000 to 6,000, but some places like Clarksville, like I believe, and I could be wrong, accepts 10,000 or maybe even more than that, which is good because they're a propane market. They're very hard to get into. It's a very hard magazine to get into, but I think that's one of the publications I know of that accepts a longer manuscript, but most want 6,000 or less, usually between 3 and 6. But there's also a market for flash fiction, which is about 1,000 words or less, 500, and even microfiction. So you just gotta look for it.
And when you're talking about the 3,000 words, you're talking about fiction pieces.
Fiction,
right?
correct.
Because articles are usually shorter than that.
Articles.
If someone's writing a nonfiction article, would you think?
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with that. What I know of is like when I was writing light, I did accept nonfiction pieces, and I just accepted in the same way I did fiction. But a lot of places actually want you to pitch. That's what I've noticed. They'll ask you to query first, just to send in, this is my idea, and then they'll tell you if they want to read it or not. But again, that's where you have to go to the guidelines. For poetry, most won't put a cap on words. They'll put a cap on lines. They'll tell you, because they don't want this huge poem, but usually it's a line count or it's like 3 to 5 poems. That's what I've seen.
Another thing is Women's World Magazine. I think their cap is, they do romance and they do mysteries, and I believe it's 700 or 800 words limit. Don't quote me, but it's somewhere around there. 700 or 800 words, and they pay like $700. So it's they pay quite nicely to submit a very short piece.
From Robert, he asks, you mentioned how long some works can be out to submission. Do you make simultaneous submissions regardless of what the market says about them, or do you abide by the market's request on that?
I abide by the market's request. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, so you won't say, it's out 2 months, I haven't heard, I'm going to go ahead and submit to this other person. You wouldn't do that?
No, I actually don't. Because, I don't know. I just kind of, you can always withdraw. I mean, I guess you could do that. You could still send it in and withdraw it later. But I'm okay with waiting. And usually when I look at if it's a pro pay market, I'll check it out first. It's usually a market that I already read, and they're pretty fast. Anyway, a lot of them are under 3 months. So yeah, I just wait. Like this anthology that I have out, my one of my stories it's been a year. I do think that one is actually simultaneous though. So I think I will, I did submit simultaneously to that one, but it was okay. Yeah. So I do stick to the guidelines.
Do you always hear back?
No, which sucks. Sometimes you don't hear back. And yeah, I hate that. But there's nothing you could do about that. Some places they just don't have the staff to respond to everybody, to all the submissions.
And when you were talking about having a well-written story, you belong to critique groups. You belong to a critique group, and don't you think that's highly valuable before sending a piece out to have a critique group look at it? And we lost you.
She's muted.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, there you go. All right, now we can hear you.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just asking about the value of critique groups in reading a piece, having multiple eyes on it before you send it out.
I think it's very valuable. Very, very, very valuable to have a critique group look at your stuff. If you have at least one person who can give you honest feedback, that's great. But if you have more than one person to give you honest feedback, that's even better. Again, like from my own experience, I made those mistakes. I sent out stories too soon. I sent them out when they weren't as polished as they should be. And, you write and learn. You submit and learn.
Sandy says, mentions that guidelines will tell the word count for articles, and that Chicken Soup for the Soul doesn't send rejection letters. They only contact if they're interested. But I do know that Chicken Soup for the Soul says, you will hear from us within 3 months. And I have to say personally, I do have one story they published in Chicken Soup, and I found out I was ready to resubmit it because it was right at absolutely the deadline of 3 months after I submitted it before I got the email that said we're interested. So they took the whole 3 months, but I guess, if you don't hear from them beyond 3 months, you could resubmit it.
Yeah, I've had a few that I didn't hear anything back from. You just have to assume at some point. You can query after, I think, about 6 months. I think the standard is 3 to 6 months. If you don't hear back, you can send a query to the editor, but you may not hear back from that either. And so at some point you can say, this is a no. I only know that the other one is still under consideration because I got an email from the editor who said that they still have submissions that they're considering. So that's how I know this is still out there floating.
Does anyone else have any other questions?
No, that was really fast. I feel like that was really, I tried to slow down. I tried to slow down, but it was just, it's still nervous. It's still nerve-wracking, but.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because in front of a group, I mean, I'm a different kind of nervous in front of a big group, but in this kind, it's hard because there's not a lot of feedback. And I mean, yes, we could turn on the microphones, but it would really be awful. So there's lots of feedback, and we would all be like, please turn the microphones off. Anyway, thank you, Sin, for your presentation. Thank you, everybody else who was here, who stuck with us, for just being here for our inaugural online meeting. And it works, and everybody else is doing the same thing, and it's exciting because at least we're seeing faces. We're seeing faces of more of the people that are in our households. Our bug guy came to spray the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's another person that I haven't seen in forever. And he was way outside, and he had his mask and everything on, but it was just nice to see. Honestly, I have been in the backyard and the front yard. I have not been in public since March 11th because I'm in one of those high-risk groups. So, that's a long time to not see other people other than your husband and your son. And I mean, I see my critique group online, but it was a real person. So anyway, little things like that, make you excited. So the newsletter will go out a couple weeks before the meeting next month. And in that will be all the information. You'll be registering exactly like this again, like you did for this one, Eventbrite. It's going to be free. get to hang out with all of us and listen to Annis, and we'll be doing our awards. And like I said, if you've got traditionally published books, please let us know, because we don't know everybody that's been traditionally published. And let's see, I'm trying to think. There's a couple other categories too. And so we'll definitely be, sending out, oh, if you're active, if you've become a member and you have so many publications, and Sandy will probably write something for the newsletter about that. And she will say, hey, if you've done this, then you can get your active pin, which you won't get it in front of, you won't get pinned actually, but you'll be recognized in front of the group. And anyway, so if there's no other questions, I'm going to stop recording. And so we're